Can you guess what chart this is? This is in fact Bitcoin, and you need to brace yourself because the price action is currently over here, and we are likely to see a further downside move. And that's what we're going to cover in today's video. I've been trading the markets for 15 years. If you haven't met me by now, my name is Jagir, and we're going to use that technical analysis to really pinpoint what Bitcoin is very likely to do over the coming days, weeks, and also months. So if you get value from today, make sure you share this video. Anyone that's involved in crypto, especially with Bitcoin, but also keep in mind, it's a macro indicator for the rest of the markets. So when we're looking at Bitcoin, it's going to simplify the price action because sometimes bars can be quite confusing if you're not used to looking at them. Markets tend to move in fives and threes, five-wave impulsive trends and three-wave corrective trends. Now with Bitcoin, we've been saying this for quite a few weeks now that we were anticipating a five-wave top, we were anticipating a pullback, and it looks like this is exactly what's happening. When we look at the price, we can see that the price, we had a big bar down the other day, and it's been a pretty decent move down from around $25,000 to around what the $22,000 mark. But I don't think the downside move is over. Why? Because the momentum is down. We haven't met certain criteria yet for a minimum corrective pattern. So what you want to be on high alert for when it comes to Bitcoin is over the next few days, we're probably going to still see a few more days of sideways to down. And we're probably going to see a local low. And what I mean by a local low is that it's not going to last very long. In other words, this high is unlikely to get exceeded before we see further downside movement because the markets are driven by fear and greed, crowd psychology, and we can use some, I was going to say subjective, but it's actually objective, logical tools and methodology to know that we're likely going to get some type of correction and then a follow through to the downside. Now, if you want to get detailed, timely Bitcoin reports, I've actually now launched my free Bitcoin report membership area, and I've just done a detailed analysis. I do one normally around once a week, every week, and the 4th of March is the latest. I would highly recommend watching last week's as well, 24th of March, because we were anticipating this move, and even the week before as well. It says it over here if you read it. On the 16th of February, we said Bitcoin report, end of wave 5. And that was the emphasis. The emphasis was this end of this wave 5, and we'll focus on this move down, and that's what we've got. You can now get access. It's free. I give you a massive amount of value, but it just gives you a bigger edge on the market so you can be 2 steps ahead and anticipate what is very likely to occur, so then you can make business decisions and leverage that information. Now, some of the things that I cover in the report is the weekly indication on the momentum. Now, I use momentum indicators. There's thousands of them. My favorite by far is the stochastics RSI, and I've simplified them in this dashboard. And I'll talk about it a bit more in the report. But we just know that the weekly trend is in a bear downtrend. So what that indicates to us, the overall momentum is no longer up as we had in the last few months. It's actually down. But we're probably going to get some trends within the trends. And what I mean by that, and I want to show you this just so you get a really clear picture of how the markets tend to unfold. So if we just look at this recent upward movement that we had in Bitcoin, we had this move to the upside, and then we had like a counter trend, this corrective 3-wave move. It's quite typical of every market and every time frame. It's just buying and selling psychology, profit taking, and then the next move to the upside. Well, we're probably going to get that, but inversed. And what I mean by inverse is just the opposite. So when we're looking at the recent move that we've got, probably got a few more days to the downside. And then we're probably going to get similar to this, but the opposite, some type of correction. There's a few types of correction, but the most common is a 3-wave ABC zigzag. And it typically looks like this. And you'll see a nice clean example of it over here. And what typically follows an ABC zigzag? Well, when it was bullish, the trend was up, and it was a continuation of the former trend. But now the trend is down. The momentum is down. So the trend is down after a correction, which may take a few days, maybe a week or so. And then we'll anticipate a follow through to the downside. So get the Bitcoin report. I'm telling you, it will take you to the next level. And I go into a lot of detail in today's video. It's around a 12-minute video, but I do a weekly update. So, and then I send out an email so you get timely information with Bitcoin. But also know, we've had this movement to the downside with Bitcoin, but look how it's impacted so many other cryptos. We had a big drop in Litecoin. We did a video on that the other day. There's Solana, there's been a lot of drops, right? So Bitcoin can also be used as a macro indicator. So let's finish with a quote of the day. We're going to go with my book on chapter 8. We're going to loop Henry Ford. And he says the following: it has been my observation that most people get ahead during the time that others waste. So your job, because you're competing against other people, is a zero-sum game, if not a minus-sum game, where your job is to get the edge and trade and buy and sell with the edge consistently.